This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, point is verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Kol Elohim, by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachak Baruch. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying lesson. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, from the land of other nations, which appear like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh South out of GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And basically came across this article on RT News. And Lord willingly, it's edifying. Bear with me for a second because I'm trying to place this instant. Here we go. So this is out of RT News, and it says, more Marines purged for refusing COVID jab. It said purge, that's funny. They could have said, basically, discharge. They could have used a lot of different words, Chose to use the word purge. And based on this, you're going to have a hellified purge that's going to come to this nation. So it says, more Marines purged for refusing CV jab. Marines are being dumped for refusing to submit to Pentagon's CV vaccine mandate. An additional 45 U.S. Marines have reportedly been kicked out of the service in the past week for refusing to comply with the Pentagon's CV-19 mandate, bringing total firings over the jabs to more than 300. The Marine Corps have taken a tough stand against recalcitrant. Bear with me for a second. So I believe the word is pronounced recalcitrant troops. I looked at the definition since I went that far. Having an obstinately uncooperative attitude toward authority and discipline. That's a spirit, because you're going to see a lot of people having an attitude, uncooperative attitude, and that's why they already are aware of that. That's why they're preparing, these isolation camps to put those that, refuse to go along with, this agenda. It says, saying all unvaccinated members who don't have an exemption application or appeal pending are being proposed for removal. So like it being processed for removal. The latest round of firings brings total discharges over the mandate to 334, according to the U.S. Naval Institute. There was a small confusion over the number of troops discharged last week after officials inadvertently counted Marines who had not yet been separated and Marines who had been separated for other misconduct, the USMS spokesman said, according to Epoch Times. While more than 600 Marines have been granted an administrative or medical exemptions, almost all requests for religious exemptions have been refused. As of last week, only 2 of 3,212 applications for exemption from the mandate for religious reasons has been approved. There was a small confusion over the number of troops discharged last week after officials inadvertently counted Marines who had not yet been I've read that part, Salakia. The USMC has been the most aggressive of all military branches in firing members who refuse to get the shots. It also has the most jab-resistant force, with about 5% of active duty troops and 13% of reservists still not fully vaccinated. Active duty Marines were required to be vaccinated for CV-19 November 14th under a Pentagon mandate issued to all branches of the U.S. military in August. Earlier this month, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin tested positive for the virus, but said his symptoms were mild because he was double vaccinated and boosted, and that jab mandate will remain in effect. President Joe Biden's administration continues to face an onslaught of legal challenges to his mandates. Federal judge in Texas earlier this month ruled in favor of 35 U.S. Navy service members, saying it would be unconstitutional to punish them for seeking a religious exemption to mandatory vaccination. Last week, the Supreme Court struck down the administration's order that private sector employees, private sector employers force their workers to get vaccinated. On Friday, a federal judge in Texas blocked enforcement of the jab mandate for federal government employees. So as you can see, it's just kind of like with the whole thing where they're talking about the Supreme Court is blocking his mandates, but then you got employers that's enforcing it. And that's just to give you the idea of that, you still got liberties and freedom, plant that seed of you still got hope. You could, you're still free to a degree when they got all kind of stuff going on in the background, That all being said, this is going to lead to a lot of chaos, death, and destruction because, you got these true blue Americans that believe in, the so-called freedoms that this country, the Constitution is supposed to provide it. And you're not seeing, a lot of these Edomites, these low-level Edomites, they are unhappy. And that's why, you're living in a time where these devils can actually make a song disrespecting their head. Because you got to understand, the president of America, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, he is the symbol for the country. So, it's funny how the Lord doing it because this is the first time in history you've even heard them come up with a chant. You've heard them talk shit about Trump. That's just, it's funny. Like when you're a celebrity, certain celebrities, you got to deal with rumors and people gossiping and talking and, people hating. And, everybody critiques, somebody, and especially, a person in that position. That's why you have people talk about Clinton's administration, Bush's administration, Obama's administration. But you've never heard any of those other individuals. You never heard about them basically being so unpopular that they came up with a song and a phrase to basically disrespect him. So these low-level Edomites are upset. And all these restrictions and mandates and these soldiers and officers that's getting fired, basically that's going to lead to what? I mean, these men and women have most of the men, but these men have a skill set, like that movie, The Taken. He said, I have a unique skill set. So, when you got men that have went to, all they've learned was war and combat, that's all they know. Their skill set is to, fuck something up, so that's going to lead, because you got basically a division. You got a division of Edomites. Division of the country that's, you got a part of the country that's all about enforcing this and feel that this is the best avenue to go. And then you got another part of the country that's literally basically saying that they're against this. You can't push this on anybody. I've heard multiple times about how they say, a lot of people that spoke out about this, they say that it's not that they're not, for the vaccine. Then, they've been vaccinated. It's not. It's about, you can't just force somebody to take this against, their will, and, you take away their freedoms. So we're going to see how this work out. But first and foremost, it's going to work out to the point where it's going to lead to the Egyptian fighting the Egyptian. And I'm going to end it on that scripture. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. 19 verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So when you go into the Egyptians, the modern day Egyptian is this red Hebrew Edomite. So when you go into this Egyptian against Egyptian, brothers was just bringing out the information about what was going on in Kazakhstan. Those citizens was beheading their public officials and the police officers and whatnot. They took basically it was what would you call it? Not street justice, but it was the people's justice. How about that? And you like the elder Apostle Tar said. He said you gotta have a certain kind of spirit just to chop a motherfucker head off. So that's going to eventually come here. When the conditions and everything's get a little bit, more and more getting worse and worse, or waxing worse and worse. Of course, and when that happens, like I said, we in the most heavily armed country in the world as far as the citizens, and they know that, so they trying to come up with ways to get the citizens to give up the guns. That's why you have all these. You don't want to use certain words because videos getting flagged left and right nowadays. But come up with scenarios that portray, we need to change. Like for instance, with that issue with the Hebrew Israelite man and his daughters that they supposed to have no understanding of how these people died, although they died. And basically it was more so promoting or putting out the fact, these Hebrew Israelites. He was in the Hebrew Israel. He was a Hebrew Israelite, and he was pushing that philosophy or that mindset onto his children. I mean, this is not a philosophy. This is our heritage, our culture. So, what I was about to say. Basically, this is one of the prophecies, the Egyptian against Egyptian. And you've seen it to a degree, but you haven't seen it just on full scale, full scale, anarchy in the streets. But it's coming. And, and that will be a part of Jacob's trouble. You know what I mean? Because best believe, Jacob's gonna catch it the worst in Jacob's trouble. But, all the nations going to be suffering. We all about to catch hell. Jacob the most. You know what I mean? That's why it's Jacob's trouble. But saying all that to say this, if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and Yakim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth to you. I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Mawathala babor, shalom.